Hello, this video is being made to go ahead and show the members of Local 331 the mistakes that the judges made, Dean Marie, Walter Potter, and Chris Reed, regarding the Local 331 elections. To start off, several members received different dates regarding the nomination meeting, which is to allow you to nominate a member without having to pay for certified mail. Some members received the 28th as the date of the meeting instead of the 23rd. This was done so members wouldn't participate, not to mention who has a membership meeting on Thanksgiving. Also, here is proof that the venue was closed on Thanksgiving. It makes you wonder if the union supposedly rented this venue out, but pocketed the money and claimed it as an expense. If any of you see David or Max, why don't you ask them? Next up, Article 5, Section 1 was violated by the judges by allowing Daryl Richardson to run for office even though he applied for an EAS position. Daryl Richardson, April Esquivel, and Ross Maestas all applied for the same EAS position. Nobody else was notified about the job. This was done to cover up the nepotism so Ross could get the job. I wonder what Daryl and April got out of this. Maybe grievance money? Soon we'll find out. Okay, next, Deborah Mixon was disqualified as recording secretary by Dean Marine, who acted alone instead of all three judges certifying that each candidate possesses the required qualifications to hold office. Joe Saavedra Jr. was talked into withdrawing for running for treasurer. Joe was told you don't get paid for the position. Hello, Joe. Max Jaramillo has received over $180,000 to be treasurer. Angel Valdez was also disqualified without telling him why. The Constitution was followed and all three decisions were appealed without a response by the one-man band, Dean Marie. Speaking of Dean Marie, Article 6, Section 1C clearly prohibits judge from actively campaigning or supporting a candidate. It also states that the judges are in charge of the conduct of the elections. Everyone knows that Dean Marie, Walter Potter, and Chris Reed all canvassed the plant and ASF to get members to vote for David and Cameron. And in return, we know for a fact Dean and Walter received overtime and grievance payouts. This is a reward system to pay for votes. Next, right before the nomination meeting, the local union used union funds to promote and distribute gifts in form of 2 t-shirts to each member as a form of bartering for votes on their behalf. This gives David and the other incumbents an advantage that other candidates do not have to promote their candidacy for elected office in the union. This conduct is expressly prohibited by the Constitution, Article 6, Section 2J. Next, the judges failed to mail ballots to all members in good standing. Many members at the plant have stated they did not receive a ballot. This is why a notice is to be given to the members when ballots are going to be stuffed and mailed. Also, we don't know if ballots were mailed out to members that are no longer employed or have changed crafts, being the observers weren't told in advance when and where this was going to take place. Also, the postage prepaid business envelope, which contained the secret ballot, had the return address of the member instead of the P.O. box rendered for the elections. Also, the postage prepaid envelopes were not checked off with the dues checkoff list to verify the ballots came from eligible voters. When questioned, Head Judge Dean Marie stated that David gave him the list that he was using, which was some type of seniority list which cannot be used for obvious reasons. On January 16, 2024, at the deadline to pick up the ballots at the post office box, myself and Rona Chavez were present. Dean Marie entered the station. He walked up to the counter. He greeted APW window clerk, shook his hand. The clerk went to the back, came back, reached below, grabbed a box. They opened the box. They said a few words to each other. Dean Marie turned around and told me and Ramona, "Let's go." I asked Dean, why weren't the ballots picked up from the P.O. box? He claimed that he had the APWU member do this because it was faster. This is supposed to be done, that way we can see the ballots being pulled out of the P.O. box for the first time, and to count to see how many ballots were received. For all we know, Dean had been picking up ballots within the 45 days. Dean was also solo. The other 2 judges were required to be present at all times. Dean Marie then got in his vehicle with the ballots, and observers were not allowed to go ahead and keep eye on the ballots at all times while traveling. When we arrived at the plant, right before the counting of the ballots started, Dean Marie claimed I wasn't allowed to be there because I didn't get permission from none of the judges. No notice was given that observers needed to be granted permission to be present. Dean didn't say anything to me at the station. This was done in retaliation for exposing to National that Dean had been campaigning for David and Cameron to the members. I was there as an observer for Mike De La Garza. This was a violation of Article 6, Section 2F. Lastly, several members have stated that they are afraid to vote against David because they have seen him retaliate against members because they don't go along with what he says, or if they openly speak against him or expose how we refuse to help them. This is against the Constitution. If you experience this, you are encouraged to report this to the National Labor Relations Board. We are seeking that the election be redone with the OLMS Department of Labor coming in to handle the whole election. That way there is no fear of anyone finding out who you voted for.